Hello everyone, this is Darky again, and I'm bringing to you another week of the SDL Season 3. This week we're facing off against Cell, who has proven to have um, quite a hard season right now, as we'll see he's making playoffs for now. He's uh, very much on the verge of maybe, perhaps, dropping out should any of the following players manage to nab a few wins, and if he loses this week and the next. So very important game for him to win. Very important game for a few other players to win. Some people want Cell to win. Because if he wins, I might be kicked off of the seeds, and I would have to fight my way up to the semifinals during the playoffs. Right now I wouldn't have to. I would be directly seeded to playoffs, assuming I win the next games. Uh, so let's take a look at my opponent's team real quick. My opponent's got Tapu Koko, a huge problem for my team. Ferrothorn, Araquanid. I don't really have a solid counter for Araquanid. Of course, Alomomola hits. Thanks the hits for days, but this is clearly going to run toxic. I don't want to get toxic, so that's going to be an issue. We've got the Donphan, the Hitmonchan. You've got the Audino. Must not underestimate the Audino at all, as I've shown in the first season. Definitely a great Pokemon. You've got Mega Swampert, so you've got the little rain going on here. Victini, Bisharp, Alolan Raichu, and Druddigon. Now, let's take a look at my team. As you can see, I kind of gave up on speed. The reason being, I expect my opponent to want to bring rain against me this week. For as we can see, I don't really have a solid counter to that. Obviously, Tangrowth gets not really killed quickly through ice moves, which rain abusers usually carry. It won't do anything. It can't do anything against the Araquanid. It won't be able to KO the Ferrothorn in the rain. Should he want to bring that, it wouldn't be able to. It would be able to live in Ice Punch from Mega Swampert in revenge, but it wouldn't be able to KO the Tapu Koko before that killed me, I believe. And then again, Victini is on the team, and Alolan Raichu's Psychic does a crap ton of damage, and it must not be ignored. Especially since my opponent knows that I'm probably going to bring Tapu Lele, and the Alolan Raichu pretty much guarantees that he has a Psychic threat on his team to really deal damage to most Pokemon on my team, definitely. Tapu Koko, I don't really have a counter for. He's probably going to run a weird mix set, which deals with my team pretty well. I can't bring the Guzzlord against this thing because of the Dazzling Gleam. I have to be careful with Crobat. Crobat is speed ties with it, but I'm expecting my opponent to want to either bring Scarf. He's probably going to bring Scarf, ensuring that I won't be able to outspeed. And if he doesn't bring Scarf, I still wouldn't risk it. So what I did is I actually decided that I would not be going for speed ties at all. I went full special attack with the Crobat, Nasty Plot, Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain, and Heat Wave. This allows me to hit the income and then coming Tapu Koko super effectively. It allows me to hit the Ferrothorn, allows me to hit the Donphan, allows me to reasonably deal with the Hitmonchan. Does not allow me to deal with the Audino, but it does KO Mega Swampert. It does KO, it does not KO Victini, but it comes pretty close. Deals with Bisharp, deals with the Raichu thanks to the Sludge move, and does reasonable damage against Druddigon. Now, the reason I'm not running Air Slash is because I really want the grass move for Mega Swampert, and I really need Heat Wave in order to deal with the Sharp. Slash Ferrothorn. So unfortunately that means this is not in a Raquanid counter. For a Raquanid, what I intend to do is actually threaten this thing with Medicham after switching out into this thing. Hopefully my plan is to come in against the Araquanid with the Crobat, set up a nasty plot, and then go from there. However, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have solid counters for my opponent's team. I think my opponent has a pretty great matchup against me this week, which is rather rare in this season. Actually, one of the few. So we're going to go a bit quickly over the team in more details. So we get Lutetia, the Tapu Lele, Shadow Ball, Energy Ball, Psychic, Focus Blast with the Assault Vest. We're running a very defensive Lele. This is in part to counter a specially offensive Tapu Koko, and maybe even the Alolan Raichu, which might want to come in. This is a solid threat against the most everything else. I naturally outspeed Araquanid and Donphan. Naturally outspeed Hitmonchan. I should be able to one-hit KO the Mega Swampert with the Energy Ball easily enough. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the game plan here. I might want to invest a little in speed rather than defense, actually. So let's change that. And how much speed does Swampert hit? Let's take a close look. Let's see, Swampert. We want to take a look at Mega Swampert. And Mega Swampert has a base at 70. I'm not expecting my opponent to run more than 122 speed, so we're going to actually make sure we outspeed that. Let's drop just a little special attack and invest that in speed. So we're guaranteed to outspeed in Adamant Natured Swampert if they're not in the rain. So that's pretty cool. You get Hannah. We're going to be depending on this a lot. Toxic Wish, Protect and Scald. Very standard as usual. We're going to want to Wish Pass into a lot of things this week. Next we've got Crayola. Crayola is especially defensive. Also in order to deal with the Tapu Koko somewhat. Deals with Tapu Koko. I guess it's sort of deals with Alolan Raichu, but not exactly. What I want to do actually is I'm going to probably lower the investment in Special Death and upgrade the investment in Defense in order to better take on the potential mixed sets, as well as in order to take on the Victini, maybe take a hit. Take on the Hitmonchan more. If it's offensive with the high punch, it would otherwise do way too much damage. So that's going to be it. Next we've got Hiyori. Very standard Hiyori. We've got the Life Orb. Life Orb with the Wood Hammer in order to one hit KO the Mega Swampert. Wood Hammer allows me to KO the not much else actually. So should I switch to a Focus Sash variant? I'm tempted actually. No, this allows me to take on Donphan as well, which I'm not entirely sure I'm going to be able to keep up to keep rapid spinning against my opponent this week. So running the Focus Sash isn't recommended, I believe. Next we've got Shazam. Shazam's running a Drain Punch, Substitute Ice Punch, Zenith Blood set. We've got 180 speed. This allows us to outspeed the Adamant Swampert once again. And other base 70 mons and slower mons as well. Ensures that we should be able to take on most threats on my opponent's team, bar, of course, the Tapu Koko Victini, which would come in and KO this thing outright. I do not exactly have a switch in for Victini if it's special, which is something to keep in mind. But I do have sort of a check with this thing and this thing, and that's what we're going to be going for. And last but not least, Cruel Tempest, as we've discussed earlier. So with that in mind, without further ado, let us go into our battle against Kairaz, aka Cell, aka the grandson. So, as we can see, my opponents brought the Victini, no surprises there. The Tapu Koko, Donphan, Odino, B-Sharp, and Aquaranid. So this is not at all the rain team we were expecting. This actually might be a bit easier to deal with, although I still don't have a solid full counter to Victini. With that in mind, a good start to this battle might be... I'm tempted to go into this thing and Grass Knot right off the bat if he goes into Donphan, then Rapid Spin, then Stealth Rocks, or something along those lines. We're going to copy and paste this into the chat. Go, boys. So let's see. Let's assume I go into Crayola first. My opponent might predict that, actually, since it's my only rocker, and start with the Araquanid, which would put me in a bind, force me to switch out into this, and he would Toxic, most probably. If he goes into Victini, I Earth Power. If he goes into Bisharp, I Earth Power. I believe I tank the knockoff, but just barely. If he goes into this, I set up rocks. If he goes into this, I Grass Knot. If he goes into this, I set up rocks. Probably taking the Toxic. I think that's my better play, but it is the standard play, and so probably perhaps a little predictable. Nevertheless, let's go into Crayola. As my opponent goes into Coco first, this thing definitely has Grass Knot, I believe. There's no question about that. I am rather specially invested, and I do have a lot of HP. I don't know how much Grass Knot does against. Let's call this. I don't want to take too much damage in Crayola right off the bat. So we're going to look for Claydol against the Tapu Koko. We're going to give Koko a U-turn and Grass Knot to compare. My thing has 252 special EVs in HP, 170-ish in special def, and 120-ish, and it's Calm Nature, I believe. So let's take a look. On offensive, Tapu Koko mixed set with that's fully invested in special attack. It deals about 40% damage with the U-turn and 57 with the Grass Knot with max roll. Max rolls don't hurt too much, so I think the play here is going for the Stealth Rocks. I predict my opponent to want to go for the U-turn here. Most likely U-turn, since it allows my opponent to gain momentum against anything on my team. U-turn into the Araquanid, most likely. So let's go for the Stealth Rocks. As my opponent does U-turn, my opponent has Life Orb and does have the does not seem to have any investment in attack. This roll is within the range that we've calced. Right here. On the lower end of the spectrum, I suppose. No, mid-range. This did, what, 46% damage? No, wait. That's actually a lot. My opponent's physically invested. My opponent is physically invested. That's a really good knowledge. Although these are 100. Let's check for level 50s. Yeah, definitely has physical investment. Although I don't believe he has too much of it. Because if he had 252, that would be min damage. Or just about. So let's assume that he's probably mixed with maybe half and half. Let's assume that for now. Clay those supporters in the chat. Let's see. What's my opponent going to go for? I definitely predict the Araconid to want to come in. That would be my opponent's better play. He might be assuming I'm going for an Earth Power. If he is, maybe Araconid. If he's not going to Araconid, he's going into Ladino. But yeah, Araconid definitely the better play. So what we're going to do now is switch into this. If he doesn't if he doesn't go for the Toxic right off the bat, I'll be able to scout for the Toxic by going into this thing right after. So let's go into Hana. It's absolutely the play. As my opponent stockpiles, which is terrible. This is terrible. Let's go for the Toxic against this thing. Can't risk this thing to start tanking all our hits. Now, can we? We do take the Toxic for our troubles, but I believe it was worth it. We absolutely did not have a choice in the matter. So we're going to wish here on whatever my opponent is going to want to go for. Tapu Koko, that's fine. What do I switch into? My opponent is probably going to U-turn again, but that does not KO the Crayola. And I think that's a better move. That's the best move he can go for. So let's just get. My opponent's going to U-turn again, though. Definitely. But I think I'm getting back more HP by going into that, so let's do it. As my opponent goes for the Wild Charge. I don't agree with that play. But we take those. So I'm just going to go for the Earth Power now. A solid play, I believe. As my opponent is going to take on the Rocks and Life Orb damage. And those are racking up quite quickly already. As Tapu Koko is already at 69% HP. Crayola standing at solid 57, going to be 63 after the... Oh crap. Oh, that is Assault Vest as all hell. I think my opponent's going to want to spin here. I could switch into Hiyori. But I don't want to lose the Disguise just yet. And he may predict me and go for the Ice Shard or something. So let's go for the Draft Knot here. Which does a solid 31%. As my opponent Toxics. Good play on my opponent's part. He is not Assault Vest. He is just, oh, I should have seen the leftovers. That's my bad. That is my bad. I didn't notice his leftovers for some reason. So I wasn't paying attention. My opponent is just especially bulky as all hell. But that is fine. I'm actually glad I didn't go into Mimikyu just now. But I believe my opponent is going to want to Rapid Spin now. So let's go into Hiyori. For reals this time. And we can immediately threaten this thing out with the Wood Hammer. Which nothing on this team really want to take. Maybe except Bisharp, but Bisharp doesn't really want to take the yeah, on the Rapid Spin, so we managed to spin block that. Let's go for the Wood Hammer right here, right off the bat. We're not risking anything. As we do manage to KO the Dunfan. Rocks are here to stay, everyone. My opponent has been denied Rapid Spinning. So we're off to a great start against my opponent here. Losing Dunfan means that Araquanid is definitely on the timer now. It can't switch in often, it can't take turns to set up these stockpiles because it is toxic. I don't regret trading the toxic with the Alomomola. Victini is a threat. Victini is definitely a threat, but as long as I don't put the psychic terrain on the field, Hiyori can take this on. Oh, Phantom Samurai asks me how good the new Zelda is, and I did buy the Switch. It is freaking amazing. Quite possibly one of the best games I've ever played. And by quite possibly, I mean most definitely one of the better games I've ever played. There's so much freedom to everything you can do. You can approach everything with so much creativity. Combat is um, standard for Zelda, but you do get an amazing array of weapons and tools that you can use to really outwit your opponent rather than just walking up to them and then fighting them one-on-one. In any case, before I go into a Zelda rant, I do want to defeat my opponent's Cell. So what's this thing going to go for? A Thunder Wave is likely. My opponent could decide that I'm going to substitute those, so perhaps a knockoff, whichever the case may be. I think going into scouting, going into this thing, landing a wish, and then going back into something else might be the better play. We can threaten with the toxic as well. So my opponent does go for the toxic. I'm going to go for a wish here. I don't know what my opponent is going to have on his team, on his Odino. Toxic, probably Wish, most definitely Wish actually. Maybe Wish Protect. Wish Protect and then what? Knockoff is good. I would definitely run Knockoff on the Odino. Yeah. So what's he going to go for? I do have my opponent on the I did rather push my opponent to the edge now. Has to be real careful about how he deals with his remaining threats are B Sharp and Victini, and his only chance to win is really to get some weight for B Sharp to set up against me, perhaps. I could go for the Scald here. I think that might be what I want to do. This thing isn't living in not a knockoff, not at all. So I think the only play is going for Scald, but he's going to go for a Sword Stance. Knowing that, yeah, that's a bit of an issue, isn't it? Well, I still have Hiyori in the back, so I can always play rough. So let's start going for Scalds here. No, I want to keep this thing alive. Not this thing, but I should really find a way to use this use this wish to its maximum benefit. Go for Scald and hope for burn, but that's not going to do any damage at all. Alright, what do I do? If this Bisharp is speed invested, that could be bad. As without speed, Medicham and Crayola. I don't think my opponent is going to want to go for a I don't think my opponent is going to want to go for a Sword Stance, an attack move here. I think my opponent is going to want to set up a Sword Stance or a Substitute. If he goes for the Substitute, that's terrible. That is actually terrible. But I can Heat Wave. So let's go into this. Let's go into Shazam. Sword Stance, Sword Stance. So now we're in. My opponent's going to want to go for a Sucker Punch most likely, so I'm going to substitute here. And hopefully on the Sucker Punch. If he goes for the knockoff and if he outspeeds me, good play. But we're definitely going for the substitute here. Delpux Master. Who's that? Who is that? In any case, let's see. He is. Oh crap. Oh crap. So he did outspeed us. Oops. I should have put more speed on this thing. That's my bad. So what do I do now? Actually, um, hmm. I could go into this thing and go for the heat wave. Hopefully, Sucker Punch doesn't want to KO us. So let's go into Crobat. Go for the heat wave, and hope we're not one hit KO'd. My opponent could be not running Sucker Punch. If he is not expecting us to. If my opponent's not expecting us to, is expecting us rather to use Tapu Lele, he could have not brought it. Bisharp has solid moves all around that he could use over the Sucker Punch if he has the free slot. Definitely has the Iron Head. Swords Dance, maybe Sub, maybe Toxic, maybe Thunder Wave, maybe Brick Break. All around good moves he could be running. But I did make a rather bad play by going into Metagem. I should have invested more speed. That's bad prep on my part. I did hope I was going to fit in DB Sharp though. But I guess he knew he was running max speed. So, yeah. Yeah, I believe he's probably running max speed. So what's my opponent going to go for now? Does he know I have the heat wave? He may suspect it. I wouldn't go into Crobat without a reason to. He knows that, so he probably knows that I have heat wave. So is he going to go into the... Yeah, he's going to switch here into Victini. That's fine. That does nothing. That's not fine. Is this Assault Vest Victini then? It very well could be. I think the only play here is going into Anna, but the Bolt Strike is going to hurt. He could as well go for the U-turn. Let's go into Crayola. Bait in the bolt move, go into Hannah. We're going to have to make plays here, so let's get the switches going. I'm going to go into Crayola here. If he U-turns, good play on my opponent's part. If he goes for the electric move, I'm going to be able to play around. If he goes for the V-Create, this means I'm going into Tapu Lele right after. Or back into this thing, maybe. Alternatively, I could go into Mimikyu and fend with the KO. As my opponent goes for the Psychic, interesting. That is interesting, actually. The special defense drop is terrible though. That's not good at all. That is no bueno. As now, I don't think I can live the. I don't think I can live a Shadow Ball now. Let's go back into Cruel Tempest. No wait, let's go into. I don't want to tank the Shadow Ball with these things. Yeah, let's just go for the Earth Power here. As my opponent Energy Balls, that's interesting. So my opponent does not have the Shadow Ball, because if he did, he would have gone for it. Definitely gone for it now. Does my opponent not have Shadow Ball? Because if I were him, I'd be running an electric move, fire, psychic, and then probably shadow ball because it hurts most of the things on my team. Mm, I kind of want to keep the disguise just for Bisharp. So what do I do now? I could go into this, but no, it's going to die. And if I go into this, I set up the I guess this could work out actually. Let's go into Tapu Lele. We'll see here if he has the um thing or not, and the Shadow Ball. Let's go for the Shadow Ball, a Shadow Ball of our own. Or do I predict my opponent want to go into Bisharp? If I do, I might want to go for the Focus Blast. I could also predict the incoming Odino. Yeah, let's go for the Focus Blast. I don't think my opponent going to want to stay in. Not after, yeah, let's go for that, actually. Hopefully I'm not throwing a game here. I do outspeed my opponent. My opponent goes for the V-Create. I live it somehow. My opponent might think I'm choiced right now. That didn't do much damage at all, though. So let's go for the Shadow Ball here. That hurt a ton. I lived the V-Create, though, so that shows he's not really invested in attack, I don't think. He didn't make the Bisharp play, unfortunately. But the good thing is, if he comes in with the Bisharp now, I'll be able to Revenge KO it without fearing the Sucker Punch using the Crobat, which is great. But now I'm at risk of having Tapu Koko sweeping the rest of my mons. So that's bad, actually. That is not good. I'm going to have to depend on this thing quite a lot. Mimikyu is going to be the one that saves us today, I think. As I did let my Tapu Koko switch in die earlier this battle against the this Victini. Which I did not expect to have the Energy Ball, I expected to have the Shadow Ball. Not that it matters much, I think, in the end, because they're pretty much the same base power. What did matter was the special defense drop and the fact that I don't have a switch in for that. I didn't have a switch it for it after that. Shadow Ball does KO, which is great. We don't have 15E to worry about anymore. What's it going to go into now? Huh. If I were him, I'd go into Tapu Koko now. I'd go into Tapu Koko and immediately threaten the immediately threaten the yeah. Exactly. That's the best play he could go for. And now I'm screwed because I have to let this thing take the damage from the from this thing. Alternatively, I could go into this, but now then I wouldn't have a switch in for this, would I? So no, it's too bad, but I think I have to let Lutetia die here. I do. My opponent's probably going to go for a U-turn, and I think that KOs. But in case it doesn't, we're going to go for a Focus Blast here. If he goes for the electric move, which I think is the better play, I'm going to go into Hiyori right after. But if he goes for the U-turn and I live it somehow, Definitely going for the Focus Blast is a better play. So I can't allow Hannah to take more damage. I can't tell it. I can't let it take go down to the Coco. Can't let Crobat go down to the Coco since that's my way to. He did go for the U-turn. Interesting. So now Tapu Koko is going to take a lot of damage. I let Lutetia die. That's fine. What's he going to go into? As that's going to decide what my play is going to be. He goes into Odino. I think this is my chance to go into this thing and Nasty Plot at all. So let's do that actually. Nasty Plot. Again, I regret not having max speed right now on this thing. I do have a bit of HP investment though, which is always good, but not good enough to live the Tapu Koko Wild Charge. However, as my opponent decides to go for a Wish, we're not going to allow my opponent to go for to switch into this thing, the Bisharp. So we're going to go for Heat Wave now. As it does a solid 39%, we burn it. My opponent goes for the Encore. This is not so bad actually. We're going to go for the Heat Wave again on the Araquanid, which takes the Stealth Rocks damage plus the Heat Wave damage plus the Toxic damage, which is really nice for us. I really don't want to take the liquidation here. Plus the Heat Wave doesn't do quite enough damage, quite as much damage as I would want to. And I don't want to take enough damage that Bisharp can KO us. However, this thing could go for Leech Life, which I think is the its remaining move. I think I have to stay in actually. That's bad. That is bad. That is not good. That is also not good. Alright, what's what we're going to go for now? Liquidation most likely. Let's think about this. He's definitely sacking Aqua Hitler. I think the play might be going into Hannah, setting up a Wish, going back into Treadle Tepes, and then setting up another Nest plot and do shenanigans like those. If he doubles here, however, that would be terrible. I'm going to Heat Wave once, expecting my opponent to maybe want to double. He goes for the liquidation and does 76% damage. Holy crap. Alright, that's not good. And he has the Figgy Berry, so it's not Assault Vest. He's just bulky as all hell. Alright then. So I made a terrible mistake. Going to switch into Alamomola. Take the liquidation. That's going to do a solid 16%. This thing is a monster. Let's go for a Wish. Let's go for a Wish here. On the Leech Life, which does not much, but it does heal my opponent, which is not good. My opponent is going to want to go for a liquidation here again. But in case he switches, I'm going to go for a Scald. As he did go for the liquidation, which was a good play in case I went back into the Crobat. Now we're going to Wish on the liquidation. This thing dies. That's fine. Depending on the play here, if he goes into this, we're going into Hiyori. If he goes into this, I think sacking is the play. And if he goes into this, yeah, I think we've got this. Let's see. If he goes into Tapu Koko, I can switch out into Hiyori. By switching out into Hiyori, I'm going to heal up the... Yeah, he goes into Tapu Koko. So I'm going to switch out into Hiyori. This is going to heal both Hana and Hiyori. The disguise ensures that I'm going to be able to... the disguise ensures that I'm going to be able to... whatchamacallit? Alternatively, I could sack Krotepes here, which might be the safer play. That might be the safer play, so that way I keep the play rough for the Bisharp. Let's cock. Bisharp versus Mimikyu. This is Adamant. And the play rough does 60 to 71% on standard Bisharp, which is definitely jolly. So that's not enough, actually. But I can use Hana to at least land a Scald on it, which does put it in range. What do you go for? What do I go for? Where do I go for? Kurenai Joe or something like that. Let's see. He's definitely going for a wild charge. There's no reason not to. And this thing outspeeds and 100% KOs the Mimikyu. It just does. Although this Mimikyu does have quite a bit of HP investment. Not quite 200, I think. Yeah, the Iron Head definitely KOs. Let's see. Is sacking this thing the play then? I don't like that. I don't like sacking this thing. Yeah, I think sacking Cruel might be the better play. Crap. I need to sack something. I could bet on my opponent not having the Sucker Punch, but I think that's a terrible play. Let's see. Yeah, let's not sacrifice it. This guy. Let's sacrifice it. This guy's actually. Bisharp outspeeds me anyways, and I don't KO it at that range. So let's go. As it goes for the Dazzling Gleam. Interesting. It's going to take the Life Orb damage, and this should put in within sneak range. So let's go for the Shadow Sneak. Actually, yeah. My opponent's probably going to want to switch out here, though, is the thing. He does switch into Audino. That's going to allow me to set up a Wish path into Krill, hopefully. I regret, now that I know that he went for the Dazzling Gleam, I regret not going into the Crobat, but I do think that was a bad play on my opponent's part. But this thing, what's it going to go for though? Wish? Wish. He does go for the wish. That is not good. I have to go for the Scald here. And hopefully KO the incoming Tapu Koko. Goes for Protect though. She's not bad by any means. Let's go for a Wish. My opponent does the same. Alright. I think now he's going to go into Tapu Koko predicting the Cruel Tempest switch. So let's go for Scald. I do want to KO this thing so bad. And I need this thing alive. No, wait. Let's switch it to this thing anyways. Let's just do it. Yeah, as my opponent protects. Good for me. I do get back to full. This thing can't hurt me. It has Toxic Wish, Incorn, Protect. Yeah. So what's he going to go for now? I guess he doesn't have an attack to hit me with. So I'm just going to go for Heat Wave now. He's going to try and stall me out using the Wish. I'm going to switch out into the going to switch out into Hiyori. Predicting my opponent to want to go for. Nothing impressive. Goes into the Wish. He's going to want to Toxic me. Let's go for Swords Dance. I don't mind taking the Toxic right now. And he may just go for the Protect in order to... No, he didn't. He goes for Toxic, which is a good play. This battle has been going on for quite a long time now already. Let's go for Play Rough now. I need to keep this thing alive too. No, I just need Crobat. As long as I have Crobat, I can win against this thing. Which is good. We do 90% damage against the... Oh, this dies now. Excellent. Excellent. That's perfect. That is actually perfect. This is exactly what I need to happen right now. Yes. This is so good. Okay, so Hiyori pulling through right now for us. What a beast. Mimikyu is so good in this format. Goes into Bisharp. I can't switch. I need to stay in and go for the Play Rough. If he goes for the Swords Dance, he loses. If he goes for the KO, I KO back with the Crobat. And I win. Of course, if he goes for the Swords Dance, I miss with the Play Rough, and then he has Sucker Punch, I lose. But let's not hope for the worst, absolute worst case scenario now. I think his better play is going for the Iron Head right now. Setting up Swords Dance against the Hana if I want to go into that. Or maybe hoping he lives the Heat Wave against Crobat. He does go for the knockoff. It does not KO me. I go for the play rough. He dies. Mimikyu takes another kill. And it's game over for my opponent as I'm going to go into Alomomola against the Tapu Koko. He's going to have to go for the wild shard if he wants to kill me. He's going to have to. Unless he has Thunderbolt. If he has Thunderbolt, my opponent wins. Let's go for Scald. He does only have the wild charge. I leave it. And that's game. GG, Cell. Close call. That was definitely one of the hardest matches I've had this season. There were a few questionable plays. And I think he definitely still had a shot at winning there at the end. However, I did outplay you with the wishes. And in the end, that secured the victory for me. So thank you everyone for watching. I'll be seeing you around next week as we're going to be battling in the final week of the regular season. We're guaranteed a place in playoffs now, and possibly quite possibly seeded. So I'll be seeing